Hey there, this is Shanda with your Pocket Coaching, and I want to talk to you about the areas in your life that you're pulling back right now. So I know what it's like to have a vision and want to create something. When I was younger, I wanted to live in California, and it took me many years to be able to, do what it took to get in California. I went to Las Vegas first because it was cheaper. I could get into school there. There's like this natural kind of domino of effects, or natural domino of actions that happen in our lives that kind of have us move in a direction. It's like, think about a river going down over the rocks. Like some of the water goes around the rocks, goes over the rocks. There's like this natural flow that your life starts to go in. And in personal development, there's a lot of talk about flow, and I think there's something to it. There's your commitment that you want to create, and then there's the flow that helps you kind of move around the rocks like water to be able to get to where your ultimate destination is, like the beach. But the problem is that I see that a lot of times people get distracted with the flow. Let me talk about that for a second. Maybe you're working on something in your life or your business right now, which hopefully you are. And while you're working on it, there's other things that happen. Like maybe you meet somebody that lives in a certain city, and so now in order to have that relationship, you need to move to that city, or they need to move to you. Maybe it's, real estate is too expensive in the city that you want, and so you got to move to like Texas or another state to be able to buy a property and then, keep that property for 3 or 4 years and then sell it and then take the money from that and move into the state that you want. My point is that the flow, so people either resist the flow, like moving to another state to build your cash flow, or they either resist the flow because they don't want to sacrifice either living where they want to live or, I definitely see this in entrepreneurs. They don't want to give up control. Like say you're a speaker and you don't think anybody else can do what you do, which is just not the case. I mean, there are many, many great companies that, Tony Robbins is a great example. So is Grant Cardone. They have other people who are very, very good and have strong charisma that they identify, and they go lead their events, right? And so there's this resistance to the natural flow of becoming wildly successful because you don't want to give something up that you're doing now, whether it's your career move or whether it's a physical move, or you make the decision and you go with the flow, and things get easier when you do that, and you get caught in that riptide, you get caught in that flow, and you end up on the wrong beach. And then you settle for that and say, well, this is good enough. I want to encourage you. I really want to encourage you to get super intentional with your life, your business, your relationships, and ask yourself, what are you building? You don't have to live next door to your parents to be able to build an incredible relationship with them. You don't have to settle for an average home because you feel like that's all I can afford. Everything that you want to create in your life, every dream that's in your heart, it's just a build. It's just 1 or 2 decisions away and staying on the committed plan that creates the result that you want. Here's what I've realized in my life. I've never regretted what I've done. I've regretted what I haven't done. I've regretted moves that I didn't do earlier. I've regretted wasting time in my life. But every decision that you ever make, every decision that I ever make, it opens up a new experience in our life that puts us in a position that if we don't like it, we can make a new decision. So I don't believe that there are many wrong decisions in life. What I think happens a lot, and I see it because I've been coaching now for 14 years. And before this, I was, running a big real estate firm. And before that, I was running, a top nightclub in Las Vegas, Nevada on the Strip. And every time I see the trajectory of where people landed, like people that when I knew them in the nightclub industry, I just met a woman that back in the nightclub industry in Vegas, I mean, her and her husband now have they have somebody that comes into their home and turns down their beds every night, like the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. And I'm not saying that might not be your vision, but it might not be your vision yet. Or you might even judge that because you're like, I don't need that. But then if you just stopped and said, well, wow, how cool is it that person really gets that they're valued so much that it's amazing to be pampered like that. My point is that there's a perspective shift available for you today. There's a shift in your mind, a shift in your perspective, a shift in your thinking that can actually excite you at a level that gives you energy, gives you drive, gives you motivation. And then you stop focusing on why do I procrastinate or why do I not follow through? It's like the reason why you don't follow through is because it's not big enough. Like what you're working on isn't big enough to cause you to work faster, to cause you to make decisions faster. It's not big enough. And when it is big enough, trust me, I know that you would do whatever it took. Think about when you go on a vacation. When you go on a vacation, you get more done in the week before the vacation than you get done in 20 other weeks of the year. Why? Because you have to. You got to get the dogs to the sitter. You got to clean your house. You got to get your bills paid. You got to, pack. You got to get your tickets. You got to get your hotel. You got to make arrangements for a car rental. You still got to work. You still got to serve people. You still got to do all those things. You still got to be a parent if you're a parent. You get way more done when you're about to go on vacation because there's a reason to. So my friends, I'm saying to you right now, ask yourself, if you're disappointed with your life anywhere, I'm going to encourage you to go throw up a wall-sized Post-it today and start saying, well, what if I really committed to something that was a build that caused urgency in my life? What would that be? And you want to bring the timeline, so you don't want to put the timeline out too far because you want to bring the timeline in so you've got to move faster. So I'm hoping that this pocket coaching has you really look at your life and ask, how can you play bigger? Because you're not getting today back. You're not getting yesterday back. You're not getting last week back. You can't get your time back. But what you can do is live your life fully on your tippy toes, where you're excited, you're leaning in, you're running towards something that hopefully doesn't scare you, but it actually, it tips from fear to excitement, so that you really feel like you're living your life. So now, I will do a pocket coaching that talks about, if you're living that way, how do you deal with the people in your life that maybe aren't catching the same vision? All right, I'll talk to you soon. Do the work.